Hello folks, hope you're doing well. Just a quick video. Yeah. What was on my mind earlier very much? What about this court thing? Because yesterday, from what the report, I asked the reporter, because she was in there when the sheriff and the solicitors were talking. So I asked her what was going on, because I was asked to leave. So I was like, okay. Well, basically, what they were basically saying, because the prosecutor didn't really know about my case, and because the sheriff didn't really know about my case, which is their job to know, really, especially as that's being dealt with that day, it's their job to get up to date with that and to know about it. But so that's why they did that. And it's like, well, from their understanding, so it's like, okay. But I was then thinking, okay, what's going to happen then in the end? And the answer is, I don't know. What I do know from, well, put it this way: had it gone to trial, if I'd have had even a reasonably competent solicitor, I'd have been found not guilty. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. I'd have been found not guilty. But because my solicitor was proving himself to be completely incompetent, and the officer basically said, you can't trust the system, you can't trust the sheriffs. Yeah, if you don't plead guilty to something, you'll be found guilty of all the charges. Then, and when God says on that day that basically what I thought was going to happen won't happen. Okay, because obviously I thought not guilty, and God says no, that won't happen today. Really? Okay, and actually that's the point. God actually said what you thought was going to happen won't happen today. The word today was put at the end of it. Won't happen today. So okay, so I won't be found not guilty today. Okay. Does that mean I could be found not guilty at some point, even after I plead guilty? Well, okay, so I was thinking about that. And the reality with that is quite simple. That if God gets the sheriff who has dealt with it so far, and will be there on the next time I go, if he gets that sheriff to look at all the evidence, then the sheriff will realise that charge 1 was dealt with in January, previous January, and there was no issues with the dogs at all. And as I say, I got them to check my hands. I was accused of punching a dog in the face or in the head, and there was no damage to me or the dogs at all. So therefore, okay. That's bogus. A bogus charge put in. Okay. Charge 2 was apparently me throwing Lockie down to the ground and telling her to go home, and she went home. Right, okay. But if the sheriff looks at the timeline, she will see that happened after the so-called me throwing Lockie down the stairs, where the claim is that I caused suffering. Why would that be important at the timeline? Well, because basically they're saying that I was angry with her. And so, of course, if the charge 2 happened after that, it meant that Lockie Dan then come back up the stairs, back to the garden, went back into the car. And at that time, I wasn't angry with her. Excuse me? How? What? Excuse me? I didn't throw her across the garden. I didn't do any of that stuff. Therefore, it wasn't escalated, even though she escalated it. I didn't escalate it. If the judge notices that, then she'll notice, well, hold it. Is it possible he wasn't angry at all in those videos? He was just pretending to be. And the video looked bad, but it wasn't. And if she takes a closer look at the video, she will see that actually nothing of what the charges suggest can actually be proved. Partly because the video quality was absolute crap, because it was, and there's things in the way that don't show. But as I say, the problem is that I had neighbours who wanted to see the worst, and they did, but when they reported it from the basis of the worst, and the SSPCA just gobbled that shit up straight away. Excuse the language, but I think that fits. And yeah, I mean, they came over. I mean, as I say, when they were here, the police officer that came with them, obviously to make sure that the peace is kept, she said to me, your dogs will be taken, they'll be checked out, and if there's no proof of suffering on them at all, they'll be brought back. So that's what I believed. I fully was confident that my dogs would be coming back to me at any time. Because I knew that there was no suffering. I mean, during the corresponding months between September and March, when I had to put the plea in, I was speaking to God, and it was clear that, no, if I was guilty, I can guarantee you one thing. If I was guilty, it is in God's best interest for him to make sure that I know that I'm guilty. That I know that I'm guilty. But go back all the way through the videos. Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, not guilty. All the way through. And so, yeah. What's going to happen now? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it could have been dealt with yesterday. It could have been dealt with yesterday. It would have been dealt with probably badly, but it could have been dealt with yesterday. But it wasn't God's will for that to happen. It was God's will for both the prosecution and the sheriff to say, we can't deal with this because we don't know enough about the case. It's bloody simple, really. There's one charge. Look at that. But no, they were both acting as if they were, that they couldn't possibly deal with the case. So they delayed it until the sheriff has been dealing with it. Probably the same prosecutor who's been dealing with it comes back. Well, to me that's God saying, okay, wrong day. Yeah. Well, as I say, there's a lot of things, because if it's right that God has said to me that dogs won't be walking back in these woods with me again, well then, okay, I'm still in the same area, so therefore if they come back to me, I would be walking in those woods again, so that doesn't make sense. However, something earlier, I was speaking to God about things earlier, and I said, well actually, Father, it would be so much better if they come back here where I am now. If they come back to me, that they come back to me at this location, because they know the location. Because as they're coming through the neighbour's garden, they're going to know they're going home. Because if they go to a completely new location, they're not going to know what's going on. They're going to have to learn to be back with me and learn this whole new location and learn everything new. So if they can stay here just for a couple of days, maybe. Yeah, and then move to the new location, that would be a blessing. I think for them, that would be better for them. If they're coming back. If they're not coming back, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, but if they are coming back, then I think it'd be better for them to come back here, because it'll make their return easier for them. Now, of course, what's going to happen with that, I don't know. I honestly don't know. That was just a conversation I had with God this morning about that. But what is going to happen, I don't know. No, as I say, I know that certainly for God, is that possible that the sheriff could relook at everything and realise that, well, actually, I'm not guilty of the charges. Yeah. That is possible, but that's up to God to do that. I can't do it. My lawyers aren't going to do it. My lawyers are not going to suggest to the sheriff that she re-examines all the evidence because she's going to find that I'm not guilty, because they were the ones who were doing their utmost to persuade me to plead guilty to something. So they're not going to do it, and I can't do it, because in that system, the only thing you can say in the court is to confirm that your name is what they're saying your name is. That's it. So how can I fit into saying yes, that she should examine all the evidence again? And prayerfully. I can't do that. God can, but I can't. So, yeah. Well, keep watching, because, the truth will out, won't it? That's the reality. Time will tell. It won't take long now. Time will tell. And, as I say, they belonged in my past. Do they belong in my future? I have no idea. But that's up to God. His will be done. You take care. God bless. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.